This episode is sponsored by Caddyshack Bistro, your favorite new watering hole. Located next to Crust Pizza Company on Spring Cypress and Champions Forest Drive in Spring, Texas. A place where dreams come true. The finest spirits, wine, and tasty food. It's where the locals go. Use code BeerNerd20 to get 20% off your next order.
I want to know what you're thinking.
Yeah, 2 more matches.
There are some things you can't hide. I want to know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Front Row Negative, the podcast. We're back again with our, I guess now monthly show, since we've already passed weekly. We've passed 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We're like a conjugal visit now.
Oh God!
We've become
wait, what
that
kind of podcast is this? What am I signed up for?
The once a month one with good behavior.
Oh man!
With
Do
good
I get an
behavior.
extra Rice Krispie in my lunch bag?
No, but you'll get an extra biscuit, maybe.
Oh Jesus! Listen. We pre-showed and we talked about tumors, we talked about Arnold, and we talked about banging our housemaids. So I don't know how this podcast is really going to go.
Hey,
If I throw out an occasional Arnold, don't blame me. It's
you know what? We also talked about NDAs.
I already broke that rule, didn't I?
Yeah, you already broke that rule.
They're
Lawsuit.
selling my stock. Oh Jesus!
You're about to get fired by the board. So, anyways, we're back tonight to talk about probably one of the shows that everybody's watched and probably watched twice and did less complaining on this one than they did on the previous one. And that is Obi-Wan. And we have brought our basically knowledgeable guest on tonight. He knows all about Star Wars. He has the Jedi books and all of that. He's referred to as many as a super gamer, but to the people of the city, he is a Jedi on the streets and a Sith in the sheets. So,
Oh shit! All right.
welcome,
Oh,
Wade.
yeah.
How are you doing, sir?
It's good. That's why I have 4 kids.
I know. I think the joke back then was every time you won an Apex match, you had one.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah, nobody can give you shit about being a virgin and a Star Wars fan. You're like, no, man, I got 4 of them.
Yeah,
I got
right.
I got a pot of younglings I kept alive when the
I got
166
proof.
went down.
I got
Right.
proof.
Yeah.
You know,
I made 4 kids when Order 69 went down. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, and when they get bad grades or when they don't listen, Order 66 them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, it's funny. The kids will bust out in Star Wars like lines sometimes, and they'll look at me and just go like, "Dad, do it."
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is.
if you're like the quintessential Star Wars fan, and your wife just tolerates it, and the kids are at grandma's and it's like you'll have your night to yourself, and it's like she's like Order 69. You're like, no, I'm sorry, Order 68. I am very tired.
Good. Let the hate flow through you.
Is that what we're calling it now? The hate?
It's something
All
else
right.
flowing through.
Yeah, right.
It's those
What is
midichlorians.
this?
Yeah, right.
Midichlorians. Oh my
Right.
God, what is this podcast?
This
This is my fault, isn't it?
You know what? Things happen.
It's fine.
Hey, it's just the way of the Force. It's just the
Right.
way of the Force.
Oh my God.
It's just what happens. Just let
It's
it
like,
flow.
honey, it's just me and you. She's like, no, there's another. I'm like, what?
Right.
Oh, God.
Huh?
I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me.
I am one with the boner, and the boner is one with me. I'm one with the boner, and the boner is one with me. Oh, jeez.
And I'm glad Donnie Yen didn't see that.
Yeah.
I'm glad he didn't see that.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Oh,
All right.
wow. So all the jokes to start this off. Obi-Wan. So for our guests, like just overall, like basic non-spoiler thoughts of the show. Like, were you hyped going into it? Were you following, basically what was your level going into it?
Going into it, I was super hyped because Obi-Wan Kenobi is my favorite Jedi. Like for the longest time, I think it was Luke, just because I, had a similar upbringing as him, just a farm kid on the farm.
Moisture farming. So you liked water.
Yes, it was very
And
much in the desert of West Texas. So
shooting
there
Oh,
was lots.
shooting wampas
so
or shooting what you call it, the T-16. I
Yeah,
missed the
yeah,
line.
Womp Rats. Yeah,
Womp rats. I wouldn't say
Womp Rats.
wampas. I'm like, oh, you're shooting
yeah.
wampas in your T-16. You're hardcore.
No, it was very similar. So like like Luke was the man for me until you had the prequels come out and then Clone Wars
Mhm.
and then Rebels and just getting to see the Obi-Wan go from young Obi-Wan to Clone Wars Obi-Wan to Jedi Master to like for real Jedi Master and Rebels and getting to see that transition through all like he had so many opportunities to turn to the dark side
He
that he
did.
probably could have been justified, but he
Wow.
never broke away from it. Never.
I
And I
think
think that's what I liked about him so much.
I think what kept him in check from doing that was, basically him never having to pay a bar tab. Because we knew Obi-Wan knows how to drink. He knows how to
Right,
handle that liquor.
right.
So he knows how to
One
handle
of my
that blue milk.
statistics.
I
Yeah,
have serious questions about the Jedi Order. Actually,
You
yeah.
have serious questions?
I do. Because okay. Let me ask you then: do you subscribe to the idea that it's more of a religious cult, or is it like
It's not a cult.
I'm sorry, it's not a cult.
That's what a cultist would say.
All right, easy Scientologist. All right, so what is it then really? No, I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. No, because
No,
I know they're not supposed to be romantically involved, right? Isn't that one
they
of the arguments
they
they can't?
can be romantically involved. I mean, there's even Jedi that were married and had kids. It's just you cannot form attachments. So a good
Oh, so you got to
example,
be a deadbeat father when you're a Jedi?
no, so a good
Oh
example of
my
that
god!
is Obi-Wan. Like he loves Satine,
Yeah.
but
Ah,
he wouldn't allow Maul to manipulate that love and that connection to drive him to the dark side. And so he even sees the love of his life get like slaughtered right in front of him. And he
oh
Mhm.
god!
never, like his line is, you know, what is it? He says, you may kill me, but you'll never destroy me. It takes strength to resist the dark side.
Ain't nobody
So
gonna break
it's,
his stride. Ain't anybody gonna hold him down?
yeah, it's, I mean, that line is just amazing because, you think about it, like he's holding true to the faith, if you will.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Like 'cause I was gonna make a joke about masturbation, but I was just it got really real really fast, and so I
Yeah.
just figure like if you're not supposed to have relationships, surely you can spank the spank the wampa or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
This
is
is
the
intriguing
most.
conversation. This is yeah.
I'm. You have some really weird questions you got going on for this
I just wanted to
genre.
talk some shit and be funny. No, and I got it out of my system because I really do want to talk to the show because being that you're a hardcore fan, I know that a lot of people liked it, but yet again, the vocal minority had a lot of problems with it, and so I wanted to see what your thoughts were on some of the things about that.
Well, I think a lot of that people shut up when they got toward the end of the show. I think I talked about this on the Vindu podcast where I think the one thing that people have forgot about because of Netflix and releasing everything at once is you don't have the opportunity to binge watch, right? So it's just like kind of like old school TV, right? Where you have to wait
Yes.
and see what's going to happen. You can't just start making all of these like you can't be making all these things like, oh, this is a horrible show and it's the first episode. Like,
Yeah.
no, there's story that's being built. There's a direction that's being built, and you have to wait.
True.
And like if you watch Stranger Things, you can binge it, right? So if one episode's kind of it doesn't affect your whole view of the show because by the time you binge it and get to the end, you're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I think if
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was done not episodial, but done all at once, we would have never have heard any of that. But
That's true.
I do
Yeah.
I do think like it is actually good that we have an episodial because it gives you something to like talk about. It's like water
Yeah.
cooler talk, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it creates more people researching, people looking things up, people hyping themselves up, people creating their own fan theories, their own endings in their own mind for what they think will happen.
Fantasy
Uh,
booking, if you will.
Basically, I mean, look at all the Marvel shows. How many times
Yep.
were people waiting for Mephisto to show up, or thinking that he was going to be in WandaVision or show up, and it
Yep.
didn't happen? and it's not going to happen. So
Yeah, that's fair.
I like the episodial one shows just because it gives you hype.
Yeah, it's just fun because
Yeah.
you're left on the cliffhangers. Like, I don't know if you guys watch Game of Thrones, but like when Game of Thrones would come out, like, dude, when that day it came out, everyone was watching Game of Thrones that night. Like, no one was doing anything else because you're hanging on the edge of your seat to see what happens next.
Yes.
And I think after you got to about episode 4 in Obi-Wan, that's the way everyone felt. It's just you had to build up to that story to about episode 4, and then everyone was like, "Yeah, this is really good. This is a really good." Deborah Chow did amazing. This is great.
Yeah.
It's just those first 2 episodes. It takes a little bit. Like the first episode's kind of second episode, you're like, all right, this is going somewhere. Like
the world building had to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we haven't seen Obi-Wan in 10 years, so they had to do something to show us what was going down in his life,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. He works at a Yield Long John Silver's.
Yeah. I mean,
fish.
Fresh fish.
But I mean, so like going into this one, I know a lot of people, especially some podcasters in the Across the Streams media community, were happy that a show was finally not on Tatooine. Until you realize the show started off on Tatooine and ended on Tatooine. But the rest of it was elsewhere. Yeah, of course, it's Obi-Wan. That's where it goes.
That's where he's at. Yeah.
That's where it's at.
It's the chosen planet of the Star Wars galaxy.
Pretty much. I mean, that's where all the drugs are at. It's the Columbia of Star Wars.
It's almost like where all the scum
crazy.
Scum and villainy are.
Tatooine used to be a very lush planet, so that's what's crazy about it.
Oh, really? Like there's some backstory there?
Oh yeah, the trees that talked about in Boba Fett. Like that's part of it.
You didn't watch Boba Fett where they kept talking about this used to be a lush, watery planet, and
I honestly forgot that was Tatooine. I'm sorry.
How could you forget? It's like 90% sand.
Yeah,
you see sand. Look, there's sand riders. Look
Go
over there.
Station, pick up
sand.
some power converters.
Listen.
Hey, look, there's a moisture farm covered in sand.
I've been to the galaxy. What's called at
it's
Disney
Jabba's
World. So
palace.
I was hoping it was.
What's that? It's on top of sand.
Oh, man. All right.
You know what they build out there? Sandmen, not snowmen.
Sandman. Yeah.
It kind of goes back to my other thing. My theory about Jedi masturbation. Like if you're out in the desert, and it's like when you go to the beach and you get sand in your crack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you want sand on your balls, sand on your on your gooch and stuff like that? No, you don't want all that shit.
You know, Chris, I'm glad you said that because that segues into our advertisement. If you got sand on your balls, Sasquatch ball. No, we don't have any sponsorships.
I was going to say, holy shit, we have advertisers?
No, we do not. No, we don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
What was that?
That's my wife making sure that she comments on it from the other side of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, I mean, honestly, Chris, I'm a little disappointed with your masturbation sex jokes for Star Wars, and you didn't even bring up Jar Jar Binks with his like elongated tongue.
Is that a masturbatory thing, or is it?
It's a missed opportunity thing.
Well, I mean, I guess
it's a missed opportunity.
I mean, what are you doing with your tongue, Aaron? Like, I mean,
jeez,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Fuck, man, are you Gene Simmons over there?
That's how I got 2 kids. I mean,
all right, okay. What is this podcast?
You started it, and I'll just finish it.
You just, well, I bet you
that's
will.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Oh God! All right.
So basically, for Obi-Wan, the series starts off with like him basically doing his job. He's undercover. He's working at a butcher shop, doing his 9 to 5, taking the bus home, stealing some office supplies and scraps. That type. It's
basically
of stuff.
Dolly Parton from 9 to 5.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He is the workaholic, or not really a workaholic, but like the office worker. The only thing he's missing is his cup of coffee to keep going.
Yeah. It's really sad to see him because you can definitely tell he's took a hit mentally, like
Sure.
he believes his best friend's dead. And he's like, a Jedi Order failed. I never thought I'd see this happen. And, even, are we talking spoilers here?
Yeah, we can talk spoilers.
Okay.
This show's been out for a while.
even when another Jedi comes and seeks him out, and is like, well, "What happened to you, man?" Like, he's like, "It's over. Like, go. Like, the time of the Jedi is over," which is something very similar that Luke says. You know,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he went from being a high-ranking general to actually sleeping in a bed in a ship or in a room or somewhere, to now sleeping in a cave, walking on sand, where everywhere is sand, and cutting up fish.
yep, that
So
was his life. He thought he was just gonna sit there for the rest of his life and watch Luke grow up, and then hopefully train him. You know,
yeah, and
but
then
yeah,
we see him build the toy. You know, the little Easter egg throwback with the little jet, the little spaceship.
yes, yep,
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool to see. Uh,
yep.
I think my daughter actually pointed that out. She's like, "Oh, that's the jet Luke plays with." I'm like, "How do you know this?
Yes,
How
yes.
do you know
Did
this?"
she really
A
say
New Hope.
that?
Yeah, she did say that.
Oh my god! Then I have a newfound respect for the kid's obsession with Star Wars. Holy crap!
She loves her Star Wars. She loves it. Yeah,
Yeah,
she pointed it out to me, and I'm like, "How do you know this?" Because
yep,
after each episode, we'd watch like the Easter egg videos, the try
yep.
to see tied things were tied, and she knew it before we watched that. I'm like, "Wow,
That's
uh,
awesome.
you need to get out more." You know?
Well, that's up to you, isn't it?
Just likes good story, man.
Yeah,
She
she
likes
does.
good story.
She does. No,
Yeah,
I'm just joking. No, she loves
yeah.
it, and she's probably seen probably each movie at least 3 or 4 times each. So
That's awesome.
big fan of it. Big fan of it. But yeah, we see that with Obi-Wan, and we see him doing his daily routine, and then that runaway Jedi, the one in hiding, comes out. I forget if we're introduced to the Inquisitors before this.
Yeah, they come looking. They hear there's a Jedi, and they visit the cantina, and that's when they see like a saber slash on the wall, and then they kind of sniff him out, and he's
Yeah.
on the run. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just really cool to see just how hopeless Obi-Wan had kind of fallen. Like he was the dude, right? He was on the High Council,
Yeah, he was up there.
you know. And
He was up there.
it's just cool for them to be able to show that, like even someone that high up is dealing with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And you think about all he's been through. I mean, he's been through like Maul, he's been through Anakin, he's been through the Clone Wars, he's been through Satine dying, he's been through Ahsoka leaving, he's been through like so much, like the killing his best friend, or he thinks he did, and then now he's stuck with like, I have to make sure this kid gets raised up and doesn't become another Anakin.
Yeah, basically doesn't grow into the same cycle over and
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah.
So
Crazy,
yeah,
dude.
and just seeing the Inquisitors come in, because I had watched Clone Wars pretty much like you have, probably 8 times. I have watched Rebels, which is probably you've done that like 16 times each.
Love Rebels. Yeah.
And to see them come in looking like they came out throughout the episodes of Rebels, they look almost identical.
Yep.
Especially with second sister there.
Yeah.
I was
with Riva.
Yeah, with Riva.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just loving that, because they look like they just came off the small screen.
Yeah.
With all the detail and everything, and even the attitude that they brought in there. It was great. I mean, what were your thoughts on that?
I really liked it. I was hoping I'd get to see the Grand Inquisitor in action early on.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see too much early on with him. But like, I liked the initial start because it was really cool. It was a really cool tie-in for all the Rebel fans, right? Because everyone knew who the Grand Inquisitor was. If you read any of the 2017 Darth Vader comics, you knew who the Grand Inquisitor was. You knew how close he was working with Vader. So, it was really cool to finally see them on, like basically a big screen, I guess you could say, like on the TV screen and not in animation, but live action.
So I have to ask this because you saw Grand Inquisitor on screen.
Yeah.
Which one basically made you come out of your seat more, seeing them on the screen for the first time? Grand Inquisitor or Cad Bane?
When I first saw him, I think Cad Bane for sure.
Okay.
Cad
Okay.
Bane is just really cool in Clone Wars.
Yes. And in Rebels too.
Yeah. And
That one was
he's
probably unexpected, right? As far as him as Cad Bane popping up, like nobody really expected that, right?
No.
no, I mean there was a lore that was supposed to be the original episode 7 of Clone Wars, where it shows Boba Fett and Cad Bane having a showdown, like shootout, like kind of like he does with Hunter in Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what happens is young Boba Fett goes on a drawdown with him and is not as quick as him, like almost the exact same speed as him, shoots him in the head, and he shoots Boba in the head, but that's where Boba gets the dent on his helmet from Cad Bane's shot.
Okay.
And so that was kind of like the unwritten lore, because that was what was supposed to be, but was never released. And then Filoni basically confirmed it, because if you watch the Bad Batch, when you first see Finnick and Cad Bane fighting each other, you see a metal plate on his head.
Yes.
And so you're like, okay, so that had to have happened. He had to have gone in that showdown and that gunfight. And then when you see him again in Boba Fett, he has a little plate on his head right here, under his hat.
Okay.
So, and that's why the whole showdown again. And he's like, you're not faster than me. And he's like, but I have armor. And he's like, remember what happened last time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just remember when we saw Grand Inquisitor come in, Gwen freaked out.
Yeah.
But her thing was, he looks a little different because of the shape of the head. Because in the series, he's got that giant Jimmy Neutron head.
So longer, taller, and very skinny face.
Yeah,
it's the same race that you see in Episode 3 of Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan goes to Utapau.
Yes,
before he fights Grievous. It's that same race, but it's like a lot of people have been saying in film is that like Ahsoka, you couldn't make her headpiece as big as in other films because she's got to move around and she's got to fight and jump, and so the prosthetics of the face have to be fit
practical.
Better. Yeah, exactly.
That'd be better, practically better. So, but yeah, so like at that scene, we see them, basically sniff out or weed out the little the Jedi there that we saw at the beginning, and they take him out. They straight up take him down, and make an example out of him in front of everybody. And I remember also we got in the first episode we got our look at Owen and what's his wife's name?
Beru.
And Beru, yeah. And they look just like younger versions of themselves in A New Hope.
Yeah,
really good.
And I think out of all those actors, I did like seeing Uncle Owen, and I did like probably the fifth brother, which is the bigger guy that's
with the hat.
Yes, those were some of my favorite because he is like a beast, man. He is.
Really.
Yeah. Like he was very similar to Vader in his fighting style and things like that. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's also cool to see the hat when he's like flying down with the spinning saber.
Yeah.
To, I don't know, like glide or slowly descent. It's weird how they do it in the Rebels cartoon.
So those sabers are specifically built to help like have little propulsion so they can do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just thought they were like spinning as like, helicopter.
Yeah. No, they have like propulsion on them to help them with that. That's why like it's so important to have that wheel attached to it and everything else. And so that's why Kanan in Rebels was like pink. And he was like, crap, I'm screwed, Yeah,
pretty much.
I gotta be honest, one of the things I kept having to deal with in my mind as I was watching the series progress is that I was like, there's nothing on the line for these characters. Like I know they all survive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's the one downside is if you're familiar with the series, is it's going to end with Luke surviving. You don't have the peril of knowing is Luke going to die.
Well, both Luke and Leia. I mean, what happens at the end, and the only characters that were expendable were the ones they introduced.
Yep.
Yeah.
Riva, basically Riva and the Grand Inquisitor. Well, not even the Grand
No,
Inquisitor.
not even him. 'cause
Yeah,
even-
right, as
Yeah.
it turns out. Yeah.
Yeah.
because he shows
So
up later.
basically Riva, yeah.
Riva, the
And
robot,
the other Inquisitor, I can't even remember their name. You know, the
Well,
one with the manacles.
yeah, that Inquisitor, Riva, the robot, and the former Empire soldier
Yeah.
that turned what would you
Good.
call it?
Yeah.
Underground railroad worker.
Yeah. Yeah. Where
Uh,
they basically had the secret passage for all
yeah.
the force sensitive children. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those were really the only ones that were introduced that could be taken out.
Yeah,
Now-
that was just my problem, I guess. I was just like, okay, well then what's on the line? You know what I mean? But like that didn't take me out of the story. I was still like, okay, cool, this is really good, you know, like I enjoyed the
Yeah.
crap out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's mostly for like, it was also for new people, you know. But
Yeah.
I will say that I was really excited to see more of Darth Vader's fortress on Mustafar.
Oh,
Mhm.
And
that
was it like
cool.
episode 3? Because you don't get to see much in Rogue One, and the stuff you do see, you're just like, this looks awesome. I mean, you see the stuff in the comics, but to see it on the TV screen
Mm-hmm.
and get
Yeah.
to see his throne and like, dude, you're just like, dang, this is
That's what I told
awesome.
my wife when that showed up. I was like, oh, they're going back into the comics. And that's another thing, like, you know, I remember when they bought, when Disney bought, you know, the whole Lucasfilm thing, they were like, oh, we're getting rid of all this,
all
you
the
know,
canon.
extended universe and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know, they keep pulling from that. And I was like, I guess so. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Filoni now is head of all the storytelling at Star Wars. So like it has to come through him. And he's always been a really big fan of Old Republic. Now, EU is also kind of like the Wild West of Star Wars, right? Anybody could write anything and then people just write around it. But like
yeah.
the Old Republic, like he loved Old Republic, like Revan and Malik and all of that, Starforge and all of that stuff. He loved that stuff. So he loves bringing references in from old lore to kind of
Well, I think it's
solidify
cool,
it.
yeah.
You know?
You kind of bring it all back
is
because there's
pretty
so much work that was put into that with so many new creators. It was like,
Yeah.
what a shame for it to all get, you know, shit canned.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, my hope and you know, my thing is that I'm wishing that they would do something with Dash Rendar, whether have an animated movie of Shadows of the Empire
Oh, yeah.
or do something with that character because he was pretty cool. He was like the Cable of Star Wars.
Yeah.
He was like the Cable. He had the shoulder pads. He had the big gun. He was the Cable of Star Wars.
I remember seeing the toys and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I want them all.
Oh yeah, the toys were cool for him. And I just remember the game when you fight an IG unit in the junkyard in that game. Oh, that was a bitch to fight because because he would taunt you as he's walking toward you, like call you meatbag and stuff as he's like firing on you. It's like,
Oh, wow.
really? Come on.
Yeah.
You've got like super shields and you're calling me meatbag as you're walking toward me firing.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hated that character. Fun game. Except for the speeders part. Any part with speeders in it, I hated that part. But it's a fun game.
Yeah.
So but yeah, you know, we were introduced to that. They take out the Jedi. We kind of see Obi-Wan and Owen butting heads. Like Owen not wanting anything to do with the Jedi, not wanting anything to do with the rebellion. He basically just wants to be a simple moisture farmer and be left alone. That's his thing. He just wants to be left alone. Now, get away, Obi-Wan, scram, shoo. And Obi-Wan's trying to hold his duty down, you know, goes to work, cuts meat, comes back home, all of that up until, you know, he sees that body hanging. And Reva kind of senses something's amiss on Tatooine. She's got that sense where
she's got that same sense that Cal Kestis has where she can touch objects and sense things.
Yes.
So, that's the redheaded guy from the game, right?
Yeah.
I still haven't played that game. I don't have time for games. I wish I did, though.
Hey, it is free on Game Pass right now.
It's awesome, man. It's a great story.
And you know what? I'll eventually pick that game back up when I'm done playing Call of Duty or when they release a new Call of Duty game. And I don't want to buy the game.
Yeah.
So I'll pick that one back up. It is a fun game, though. Definitely worth playing. And you know, Chris, when that kid finally comes and you're up late at night because you can't sleep, you know what you're going to do? watch videos of other people playing that game so you know what's going on.
I was about to say there's a strong possibility of that, or just be behind on deadlines and keep working.
Yeah.
But yes, either way, yeah, no, I'm envious of you guys, man. That you can dedicate time to video games and just get away with it.
Not a lot of time. Not a lot of time, but it's
a balancing act.
yeah, it definitely is. I'll just say this: if you're gonna play a Star Wars game, Squadrons is fun but very frustrating, especially if you can't get the aiming right. Battlefront 1 was okay when you did the verses. 2 is much better. 2 is much better. Fallen Order is a lot of fun.
Or just have fun with the Force Unleashed games, man.
Yeah, those are a lot of fun too. Yeah, basically, if you like Devil May Cry, you'll like those games.
Am I remembering that Terracotta Academy or whatever it was, the fighting game with rose-colored glasses, or was it actually a good game, or the battle? It was like a fighting game.
The one for PlayStation?
Yes,
the original PlayStation?
Yes. You know what I'm talking about?
I never played that one.
It was something. God, what's America? I can't remember it now.
I remember it. I remember there was like a fighting game that was a Star Wars fighting game.
It was something of the Terracotta, something, I don't know. But anyway, I figured you guys might have played it.
No, I didn't play it.
It was pretty cool though, because
Wade probably played it.
I don't know what game that is.
It was like a Battle Arena Toshinden with Star Wars characters.
I never played that because I didn't play a ton of fighting games.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I vaguely remember it only because when I worked at Blockbuster, nobody rented that game, and
Really?
so we put it up on the sale table, and we put it up there. It was originally $25, and it finally sold when it hit, I think, $8.99 is when it finally sold.
Oh wow! Oh yeah, Masters of the Star Wars Masters of the Terracotta. Yeah.
Interesting.
It was dope, man. It was fun. I liked it.
Okay. No, I just at my local Blockbuster in our area, nobody rented that game, and so because it went, I think like a year without being rented, they got rid of it because nobody was renting it. So that's what happened to it. On the other hand, Super Return of the Jedi or Super Empire Strikes Back on the Super Nintendo, both of those were getting rented left and right. So,
I played those a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I played those too.
Yeah.
So those got rented a lot, and they never. I think the only time they ever put those out for sale was whenever Blockbusters had to get rid of the Super Nintendo games. That's when they finally put them out. So
that's crazy.
It's a thing,
Yeah.
but there is a new Star Wars game coming out that's sort of like Overwatch, correct?
Oh really?
That's a mobile game, Jedi Hunters.
Oh, it's a mobile game.
Yeah. They'll come out on Switch and a mobile. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like an arena shooter.
Yeah, because you have a
Yeah.
Wookiee in there, and you've got like these 3 characters that stand on top of each other's head, like Ed and Eddie, and then you got a few of like a droid that has like a lasso or something. I forget.
You got some Jedi and Mandalorians as well. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a mobile game.
Only a mobile game? That's kind of a letdown. Kind of a letdown. Well, okay, let's get back to the show. That was a weird off track on that. It's okay, it happens. That was weird off track. But basically, things are getting set up. We see a little Leia, talking her trash to her cousins talking trash to her adopted dad telling her, don't worry, one day your cousins are going to bow to you type, speech. And they're really setting up Leia as this, she's already got the fire. She's already the Spitfire. And she's also got a little droid too, And,
Lola. Yeah.
And every Star Wars series, either the sidekick hero or the hero to be always has a droid pet or sidekick to them.
Yeah.
Luke had R2. Luke had R2. Rey had BB-8 for a while. Chopper was a friend to everybody.
Was he a friend or was he a death robot?
Chopper was the grumpy old man friend.
It's funny though. He wants to kill everyone. It's like
he does.
I think he's like the Clint Eastwood. Yeah, when Clint Eastwood. I'm a dick, but I'm a friendly dick.
Yeah, I was about to say he's the Gran Torino
Yeah.
of droids.
Yeah.
Get off my yard.
Yeah.
You Jedi, get off my ship.
Get off my lawn. Yeah.
And then you had what was his name? Vance or Vec or the one from Resistance. He had the little droid too.
Yeah.
So-
I didn't watch Resistance. Bleh.
It was okay. It was
Yeah.
okay.
I tried to watch it. I couldn't get through the first episode. So
Wait, you didn't watch a Star Wars series?
I never
the way
watched that one
through?
because I couldn't get through it, man. I was just like, this is
Ah.
not for me.
You just lost so many kyber crystals.
It's not for me, man.
Yeah.
You know what? We watched all of it. I will say this: the first half of the first season is very difficult. Very difficult. Once you
What
get
is
past
this?
that,
What is this?
once you get past that, it gets a lot better.
I just couldn't do it.
And then when they introduce Hondo, because Hondo cameos,
Hondo is always fun. Yeah.
when he starts cameoing, it gets much better. It does
Yeah.
get much better. But it is a difficult start. It's a
Yeah.
difficult start, but it gets better. So don't be too hard on that show.
I'll just watch the synopsis on like YouTube or something.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you could do that, but you're missing out on some of the smaller details that will pop up later on. It could
Not
pop up.
sold, man. Not
It's okay.
sold.
I'm not gonna lie. It started off really hard to watch,
Yeah.
but it ended so well. It did end really good. So there's a balance. There's definitely a balance. I still need to finish Visionaries. So on that one.
Visions is really good. I mean, there's probably like 3 that I really liked, and then there's others that I was kind of like, eh. But actually, the first episode, Ronan, I have the book that I'm reading.
Oh,
and
nice.
It is awesome. Like I'm about a quarter of the way through it, and it's like really, really cool. I know the guys that are listening can't see this, but there is a really cool cutout that comes into it of a samurai, the Ronin.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And there's also a really cool map or another cool image of the Ronin right there as well. So
okay. Oh, it's a pull-out poster. It's like
Yeah.
a pull-out folding poster. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Now, did you buy the shirt and pop 2-pack of that set?
I wish I could have.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing this out there, but any Funko collectors who happen to go by Target, apparently Target is clearing out a lot of Funko things to crazy prices to get rid of them.
Dang.
I just bought a Jurassic Park, the giant pin. They marked it down to $5.
Crazy.
It was originally 20, it is now 5. So it's can't see the light, but I got the spitter dinosaur.
That's awesome.
And they had a lot of those Funko Pop sets, like the 2-packs and everything, for $9 or less. So
That's crazy.
get
Yeah.
them while you can.
You guys, since we're talking about Obi-Wan as well, make
Yeah.
sure you go check out the comic, Obi-Wan comic. There's 3 issues out right now.
Okay.
It's set right before Obi-Wan. It gives you a lot of really cool history and backstory. Like a lot
This
of
is a
really
new
cool
series.
stuff.
It's not
Yeah.
the Obi-Wan and Anakin team up.
No, not that one. This was the one. It's set with old Ben while he's watching over Luke, and he's kind of remembering, and it's going back. And there's some really cool stuff with Qui-Gon. There's some really cool stuff with. Just read it. It's
Okay.
good. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah.
But to kind of jump back into, I know we keep taking sidetracks to this series.
It's my
But-
fault. I'm gonna be quiet and listen. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. but I mean, like, Reva's basically saying that someone's here. That she knows something's here. There's someone here on this planet. She has that sense. And what we learn is that Vader has been hunting Obi-Wan down ever since he got burned. Ever since he got toasted up, he's been hunting him down. He's been looking for him. All eyes out for Obi-Wan. Reva's also looking for him too. She is also on the hunt for him too. That's where we kind of get the strong revenge, the strong act of revenge for Obi-Wan. And so everybody's hunting for him. And then we get the build up with Leia with Jimmy Smits returning to play her dad or adopted dad. Which I was going to say this about Jimmy Smits. For the last 15 years, he's looked 60 years old.
Yeah, he looks great.
He's been
He looks great.
He's been 60 for the last 15 years. It went. I saw him show up on Sons of Anarchy. He looked old. I saw him show up on another show. He looked old. Now he's showing up here, reprising his role. He looks old.
Hey man, I wish let us all hope we age as finally as Jimmy Smith is, because given the fact that he's 176 years old, he's doing pretty well for himself.
He looks good, but he just looks like he needs some sleep. He doesn't have
Amen to that.
He doesn't have bags underneath his eyes. He's got a full set of luggage underneath there. He just needs some sleep. Oh, don't worry. It only gets worse, Chris.
That's fine.
It only gets worse.
That's fine. I signed up for it.
Whenever that kid arrives, it only gets worse. But he shows up. We see Leia, defying her mother's or her adopted mother's orders, not getting dressed, having decoys out there, which is what her own mother did. Nod, nod, wink, wink. Runs in the family, genetics. And we see her take off into the woods, something that she's done several times. But this time, somebody was waiting for her. And that person was Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I was like, whoa!
Imagine running onto the woods to go play with your little bot that you built from scratch. Basically building your live-action Tamagotchi, and you run into Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Listen, you don't mess with Flea, man, because he's going to call you on your shit. And if
even his dentist doesn't
fired
mess
from
with
your job, you know what I mean?
His dentist
What's
doesn't
the matter,
mess with him.
McFly?
So
the first thing I thought was is this Back to the Future? Like, what am I looking at Flea?
Yeah, it's Flea. That's what I said. I was like, that's Flea. And my kid's looking, who's that? And it's like, oh, you don't need to know about him yet. Don't Google search him. Do not Google search him.
Exactly.
I don't want to see. I don't want you to see the socks. Don't Google search him. But yeah, they kidnap Leia. She puts up a decent fight, as much as she can. They kidnap her away. We see her adopted dad send out the message to Obi-Wan. Hey, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. Please come help me. Some rehashed storylines, or is it rehashed when it's done in the prequel? Or is
it's nostalgia. It's the nostalgia kick, man.
Or is it pre-hashed? I don't know. But he asks Obi-Wan for help. Obi-Wan has to rush out to get Leia. And that's pretty much where the story starts, is Obi-Wan on a rescue mission to get Leia.
Yeah. Yeah, it really, really picks up there. And that's, I think, where things start to get really, really cool. I mean, when he goes to the planet where she had been kidnapped, I can't remember the name of the planet now, but when he goes there and he sees the veteran clone trooper, this Leia sitting there begging, and he looks at him and he gives him a different look. I'm pretty sure he recognized him, because I believe he was in blue armor, right? Which is the 501st, which is Anakin's company.
Yes.
And Anakin's master was Obi-Wan Kenobi. He would have known that 100%.
He would have.
So when he looked at him, I think he realized, ooh, is that Kenobi?
Should that have been a yellow suited armor instead of the blue?
The 212th from Kenobi? I don't know. I mean, I guess Bad Batch will tell us, since Cody's going to be in the Bad Batch, and we're going to see what happened with the 212th. But it makes sense that the 501st was kind of just chunked to the side after everything,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But
it definitely does.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I love the subtlety of it, because it was like he knew, but he was at this point, he knows he's discarded, just like Obi-Wan was,
But it's also been 10 years, though.
Yeah.
It's also been 10 years.
Yeah.
And, Obi-Wan has aged. I mean, they heavily make up his forehead to make him look older.
Yep.
They put those crow's feet underneath the eyes to make him look older.
Yeah.
And, well, the beard was turning gray anyways. The beard was turning gray. So,
yeah.
Sure.
But that was a good throwback. And I love the atmosphere of this planet.
Yes.
All the neon. Very,
Coruscant look like
Coruscant, but kind of like Cyber Tokyo, like a cyberpunkish,
yeah,
very
Yeah.
cyberpunkish.
almost,
Really
almost like Nashidara,
yes,
like like the Huttonese, basically just underbelly.
yes, like just like one big just slum of gambling and sin. It looked great. It looked really great for that.
Yeah,
Agreed.
And we see Obi-Wan using his wits about him to try to find out where she's at, try to find her out. And this is where we get I forget his name. I forget the comedian's name, but he was in Eternals.
Camille Nanjiani, I believe.
yes,
is the guy.
I like
Nanjiani.
him. Yeah,
And just being a character that was made for him. That was a
Yeah.
character that was definitely made specifically for him.
yeah,
I know that a lot of people have expressed distaste for Star Wars getting filled up with comedian cameos, specifically Bill Burr.
I love him. I think he's
Yeah, he
great.
did great, man.
Yeah.
I thought he did too. I thought he did too, but you do have people who did not like that. They don't like the comedian cameos. And I'm just like, just be glad it's not Chris Rock, just be glad it's not him yet, because he'll just be screaming and yelling at everybody as he's running away.
Well, I think it just makes the case for the idea that a lot of comedians grew up with the original trilogy, man.
A lot of
and
them are
they're
fans.
All nerds in their own right, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like, it's
A lot of them are fans.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, honestly, dude, like if I were some kind of famous comedian, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to be in a Star Wars cameo?" I couldn't get it fast enough.
Yeah. Who
There's
doesn't
gonna be an
want to
action
Star
figure of
Wars?
me at some points as
Yeah.
well, and I want the toy.
That is, he'll either get an action figure or he'll get a pop. One of the two.
I
Probably
want a
both.
Black Series Chris. One of them. I want to come with my own special droid and everything. Yeah.
But I mean, so like they're doing that. He's looking to get a transport to another planet or I forget what happens here.
It was like a supply cargo trailer thing, and they were going to that planet where not Seth Rogen was transporting things on the little thing with here.
Oh, the desert. You're already jumping ahead to the next planet.
Oh, am I? My bad. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. That wasn't Seth Rogen.
I know, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was Dr. JD.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made a choice there. He made a very conscious choice to sound just like Seth Rogen.
Hey, if you could sound like him but get half the pay, that works out for the producers.
Yeah, right.
Hey, it worked for was it the guy from Walking Dead who did the role of Red Skull?
Surprisingly, I know his name is Ross Marquand.
Yeah, you get him to do 5 different voices for the Marvel Universe, and I only have to pay him once.
Dude, he killed that voice, by the way.
He did. He does. He also does a really good Christopher Walken too.
That's awesome.
He does.
So Camille Nanjiani, I'm sorry. I know it's our MO to kind of like just veer off. I know that's what we do. I'm sorry. I'm just I'm the one trying to right the ship now. That's where we're at this point. Now I'm the one trying to get me in check. Sorry.
Hey, it happens. It happens. But this is the city where he actually finds Leia, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, he finds her. They start to get away, and that's when Riva shows up because she's being smart and drawing him out.
Yes.
And I love like that ending, right when they're getting away, and Riva shows up and tells Obi-Wan he's still alive.
Yes.
And he's like, "What?" And just like everything changes, and he starts to feel things in the Force, and he's just like, "Oh my gosh!"
Well, before that, I do remember when Obi-Wan rescues Leia. Leia doesn't believe him, and so he's also got bounty hunters out for him too, looking out for him too. So you have Obi-Wan running from bounty hunters, also chasing a bratty Leia as she's running off to try to take her back home, and also get away from Reva. So he's got all these problems. He's single dadding it, trying to get Leia to listen and to follow direction. It's not working. It is so not working.
Yeah.
And doesn't he hand Leia off to Nanjami to get her to the plane?
Not yet. That's where I think he was going to because like they had to separate for a second.
Yes.
Yeah. They separated, and then as she got onto the cargo ship, he eventually like gets away from the all the bounty hunters, and then that's when Reva confronts him, and all that. And
yeah,
then
in the warehouse, they're in that
Yeah.
warehouse scene.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like he learns Vader's Anakin, and then of course the thing that shocked me is what happened with the Grand Inquisitor. Like I was like,
Oh yeah,
wait, what?
that was left
I was
field. I was like,
what?
whoa.
Hold on, that's not canon, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
All right, she tells him he's alive. We see the eyes open to end that episode,
yeah,
and I think that was probably one of the best cliffhangers that Star Wars has had
yeah,
with that ending, with that kind of end for not only an episode but for a series to introduce the, I mean we all knew he was going to be in the show, but
yeah.
And you
That's
know
how
what?
they
And
bring him in.
justice for Hayden Christensen, man, get another shot at the character again.
Yeah. Well, because we open up the next episode with them, memory, with them training in the past, to kind of like basically prelude to them meeting at the end of the episode, to do that. So we have that, that little opening flashback. And to be fair, Hayden Christensen looked good,
He looks really good.
but
Yeah.
he still looked a little old for him to be a Padawan. He still had that that high school TV show teenager look, where you're a 45-year-old person playing a 19-year-old on Saved by the Bell, and he was fighting Obi-Wan, who still looked his real age, but was supposed to be de-aged as well. But that was a good flashback. That was really good to show pretty much the same Anakin that we got from Clone Wars, the headstrong, head first, doesn't want to listen, I know everything mentality.
Yeah.
So, and that's where it began, and that was a good flashback. I think the flashbacks done like that were a lot better than Boba Fett's taking a nap in the Bapta tank flashbacks for half the episode. I'll just say that. It just felt more progressive for the story. So, what were your thoughts on that? On seeing Hayden Christensen come back?
I absolutely loved it. I think I love how the fans are treating him now because he got so much hate previously.
Yeah.
And I think he did fine. It's like,
yeah,
Anakin is supposed to be kind of like Luke, like whiny, like arrogant. That's kind of the way, like awkward. That's kind of the way he's supposed to be. And I guess some people that weren't Star Wars fans as long as I've been just didn't realize that when the prequels came out.
Well, and to kind of add on to that, what I see is the kids during that generation when those three movies came out loved those movies, but the older fans when those movies came out hated them. And now flash forward to now, you have the older fans who grew up with the first three or the parts 1, 2, and 3 are now hating on 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
And it's like a repeating cycle because my daughter she grew up with these three. She loves all of them. She loves all the 9 movies.
Yeah.
And she loves Rogue One. So I just think the market is for kids.
So what you're
And
saying
when
is
they grow
the
up with the
gatekeeping is the tradition of gatekeeping.
The gatekeeping is when it's essentially when fans turn 30, then they start to gatekeep the younger fans. It's the 30-year-old plus fans that start gatekeeping. And it's like a continuous cycle. I just enjoy it because Gwen enjoys it, and I have fun with her on it. I'm just excited that she's reading the books and everything, and she's really diving headfirst into it.
Yeah.
So
That was awesome.
But yeah, I remember all the hate that those first 3 movies got, and now they're beloved.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I didn't like in any of them was Jar Jar, but I could overlook that. The rest of it was great Star Wars.
The funny thing with that now is that now people have love for Jar Jar because of the hate he got. They feel bad for the hate he got.
Yeah.
And so now they like.
Yeah.
Me's a whipping boy.
That's gonna get
watch it go Samantha.
I gotta timestamp that. We're gonna get canceled, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
What? Canceled? He was the scapegoat.
He was.
Yeah.
He definitely was.
Please don't be mad at me, master. I know my acting wasn't for everybody.
People
Master.
blame the failure of those movies on him, on his character.
That's
See, I didn't think they ever were a failure. I just thought
No.
like that some of the stuff was just dumb. Like Jar Jar
Yeah.
was dumb. Like I get it, but like George Lucas and his weird quirkiness, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
There are some elements that I did not like.
Like-
Yeah, Jar Jar I thought was a bad element.
Episode 2 was cool, you know, but you also have the awkwardness of Padme and Anakin, you know, like
The age difference.
yeah, like,
There's
you
a
know,
cougar in the car.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
but
There's a cougar in the car.
yeah,
I think one of the things we got to mention though, and I think a lot of people forget about is that even like you said, George Lucas wanted to make some choices and do some things in these movies. At the end of the day, he still wanted to find new fans. You know what I mean? He still wanted to create new future investees, if you will, investors in the franchise. So, it's like in wrestling. I know, and Eric can attest to this. I don't know if you watch wrestling or not, but a lot of times the product we see on TV is a lot of garbage because it's not for us anymore. You know what I mean? They've already got us. Why they want to pander to us? Time to pander to somebody else.
Well, they do pander to us whenever there is a new set of action figures. They have the legends in there, and we're like, oh, yay. Bam Bam Bigelow with purple and black flames now instead of orange and black flames. We got to have it.
And I get
Here,
it every time.
Take my $30.
Oh, hey, and by the way, guys, on Disney Plus right now is Light and Magic. Go watch that. It is so awesome.
You were telling me about that.
Yes,
Tell me about that.
It's about like all the special effects and stuff.
It's about how Industrial Light and Magic got started and how it became the special effects of all of Hollywood. And that was started by Lucas because no one could do what he envisioned for Star Wars. And so they literally took a bunch of just random guys off the street that knew how to do certain things, like a machinist or a cameraman or a special effects person. And they built cameras and everything to do what they could do for Star Wars. It's just, and how Star Wars even came about is incredible because it almost didn't happen. So
that's awesome.
I did watch the Toys That Made Us Star Wars edition.
Yeah.
And they're talking about that, and I'm like, wow.
You gotta watch it, man. It's incredible.
Oh, I love it. It sounds pretty cool.
That does sound pretty cool. That does sound very cool. And to jump back to the show.
Back to the show.
Jump back to the show. We're doing our own Tyco and Nyko commercials. Midway through. Reva is after Obi-Wan now. She knows he's alive. He's out there. Vader's after him now because Reva's reporting to him. The Inquisitor says, "Let's go attack something else. Let's go deal with this other threat." And Vader's like, "No, Obi-Wan. He lives rent free in my head. I've got to go get him. I got to catch this. I got to catch this guy. Let's go." And this is where pretty much the entire thing comes. It basically becomes Lone Wolf and Cub Part 2 that we just saw with Mandalorian. So it's a fun adventure. It's a fun, thrilling adventure.
Can we talk about when Reva starts to assault or I guess to back up a little bit there, we get on, basically the little pathway of where all these younglings have been funneled to safe locations that are force sensitive. And you see that Quinlan Vosk is still alive. Like, dude.
Wait, was that him? Was that him?
That was Quinlan. Well, he wasn't in the show, but he read it and saw Quinlan Vosk.
Yes, on the
and she
the
said,
walls.
"Yeah, he helps us sometimes with these like young people who are force sensitive and things like that."
Yes.
And so everyone assumed that he was dead because he was basically he was a Jedi that could sense things that he touched as well, kind of like Cal Kestis, and was in the Jedi Order as basically like a spy because he could track people so well.
Well, I remember him in the series. I think it was Rebels. He was in Rebels, right? Or was
Clone
that
Wars.
Clone Wars.
When he fought Dooku, and Cad Bane,
Yeah. I remember him, and because I watched Clone Wars much later than after it came out, when I watched him, I'm like, oh wow, he's like Jason Momoa, the Jedi.
He's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, he's very cool. Definitely very cool. So I do remember that because of his character in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see them mention his name from the wall.
Because his story is crazy too, because like him and Obi-Wan became friends and they're very different the way they do things. Yes. And then as he goes on his his task by the Jedi Order to assassinate Dooku, he eventually falls in love with Asajj Ventress, who we know was Dooku's apprentice.
Yeah.
She dies, and then he turned to the dark side for a little bit, and then he is reinvited back into the Jedi Order because of Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And so it's like really cool to see that Obi-Wan's like, Quinlan Vosko's here? Like, oh man, like he's still alive? Like, what? Like, you could see just his demeanor change a little bit of like, oh, there's still some Jedi that are alive.
There are, yeah.
But that was just really cool, man. I thought that was awesome. So hopefully we'll get to see him eventually in something.
Also too. And just to kind of start picking our favorite parts from the show, because basically we've talked enough about it to get people interested. If you haven't seen it, go see it. But let's start talking about some parts that were really cool. And I'm just going to say the town scene when Vader arrives in town.
Oh, yeah.
That scene, because
Snap.
you've never seen Vader do that. There's always been talk about how ruthless Vader is. He's this and this and this, and people fear Vader just on reputation alone.
Yeah,
but we've never really seen him doing anything except for force choke somebody through a television, through Wi-Fi. He's only like choked somebody through Wi-Fi. To see him walk through a city street, pull people from their houses, snapping necks, cashing checks, all of that, calling out Obi-Wan, that's just badass. That was scary, intimidating, but badass. You had one guy stick his head out to see what was going on, and he gets snapped and he like falls out the window. Then his little boy comes running over to him, crying, and that boy gets thrown against the wall. It's like, no.
And isn't it odd how it took Disney to make that happen?
Dude, and even the fact too, like, what is he doing to Obi-Wan? And he's like lighting the ground on fire to burn him like he did him, and he's like holding him in the fire. Like, holy crap!
Yeah,
man.
This is how it feels, you bastard.
Yeah.
I mean, he just should have said, Obi-Wan, I'm going to burn you, and not with words, but physically, I'm going to burn you. Yeah, and he just pulls him into the fire. I mean,
dude, that scene was awesome. And then I got to say the scene too, when he's finally, I think one of the coolest scenes for me is when he's like, it's like a 1-2 punch, right? Like toward the end when he's hunting Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's smart and outwits Reva and realizes what she wants to do. Yeah. And then Reva tries to jump Vader, and Vader, well, even before that, when Vader freaking pulls the ship down and just starts annihilating it. Yeah. And then Reva is like trying to fight him, and he's just toying with her, dude. The way he just toys with her, I'm just like, doesn't even pull out his own lightsaber, No
need,
he just breaks it and hands her a piece.
Yeah. It's like,
oh my gosh.
It's like, this guy is, God, man. But I mean,
and a lot of throwbacks. I know, like the scene where Vader's burying Obi-Wan, and because Vader finally has the high ground, and he's burying him, only to have Obi-Wan take the high ground, rip it apart, and then have the high ground, but not really have the high ground, but use the high ground to attack Vader with it.
Yeah, when he sticks his arms out, like that was incredible, dude. And he's just like, oh, it's like, phew. Yeah,
it's just insane.
And
so many good power-ups.
I think even with all of that, the part that got me the most emotional was the very, very end, right? Mm-hmm. And he's back on Tatooine, and he's talking to Uncle Owen, and Uncle Owen takes the ship because he's going to give it to Luke. And Uncle Owen starts to realize, okay, Obi-Wan's not as bad as I thought he was. And he goes, Ben, you want to meet him? And I was just like, yes, he does want to meet him. And then he says the classic line,
Yeah, hello there.
Yeah, exactly.
So good.
Honestly, I thought you were going to bring up the other ending, the scene. Basically, what took you so long?
Oh, that was real. I knew it was coming, but I think I have to give that one like the relationship between Obi-Wan and Luke, the tip, like, because that was like just so good.
Well, people had heard that Qui-Gon was going to come back. That I think it was like one of the concept art pieces leaked but it was like Qui-Gon inside of like the armory or someplace else. It wasn't on Tatooine, it was someplace else as a ghost. So people were semi expecting it. But I think when they finally got to the end, they're like, okay, Qui-Gon's not showing up yet, and he's already meeting Luke. This is it.
Yeah.
That was still a good end scene. That was still a
Yeah.
pretty good surprise end scene.
Yeah. And he walks, I think he's walking down the same path that where him and Qui-Gon originally landed. Or something like someone was saying it's either like where they originally landed on Tatooine when they first got there, or it was the pod racing area. I can't remember. Like
Well,
the valley they're going
Well,
through.
I remember whenever young Luke was running away, he was running in the same valley where the Sand People were shooting at him in A New Hope.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So
there was that kind of throwback.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it's just a great show.
Yeah.
Just a great show.
Absolutely.
Chris, did you have a favorite moment?
I honestly, man, yeah, I think Darth Vader going through town and just, you know, solidifying his reputation as being this, just, you know, harbinger of doom, you know, because for the longest time we were always told how awesome or how, you know, horrible he was, and it's like, all right, well, now that we have everything technologically in place to do that, man, it looked really good. And I think, and the way they filmed it and the way they did it, perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for the Disney audience, I don't think they were expecting that.
No.
But for the adults, we're like, yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Finally, yes. But yeah, that was that scene. I know a Funko Pop set is never going to happen of that scene because they have like broken neck Funko Pops behind Vader walking, but that was still just a cool scene.
That would be cool.
It was still so cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Wade, how many Easter eggs were you freaking out about, or references were you freaking out about in the show? And what were some of your favorites? And explain to us, because we're not the super fans like you are. Like give us some good Easter eggs or references, or some throwbacks.
Man, I mean that's hard.
Or your favorite Easter eggs or throwbacks that you saw.
I don't even know if it would be really considered a throwback, but like I really love the connection that they did with when Obi-Wan's telling Leia about his real mother and father.
Yeah.
And how that connects into Return of the Jedi when Luke asks her, "Do you remember your mother, like your real mother?" And I just love how she has that to pull on, and then flashes that she saw. Like there was a statue, I think, that was on her planet where she grew up and stuff like that. But I just love that deep connection that they did in that. Like those things were probably the coolest things for me. And I don't know. I think probably the ship that he gives Luke was probably one of the coolest connections for me as well. The Easter egg, just because like it's a little bitty prop that he plays with that you don't ever see again, but it's so interconnected, and it's probably one of my favorites. Yeah,
very true.
Yeah.
So one question I do have to ask. So throughout this series, there were a lot of either unclaimed or unserviced lightsabers. Did you recognize any of them that belonged to somebody else?
Which part are you talking about?
Either the hall of where the Inquisitors are at, or that one box of lightsabers that they had at the railway, or like the jump station.
I didn't recognize any of them because I didn't spend enough time looking at it in detail. But I mean, when they were on the Inquisitor base, you had like all those force sensitives and people stuck in there, and you see one of the Jedi Masters from Clone Wars that helped Ahsoka. You know, it's just that was really cool as well. But no, I actually never dove into seeing that. I was actually really hoping that they would show us Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber, because the fan theory is, you know, Obi-Wan had Qui-Gon's lightsaber, and that's where Luke got his green kyber crystal from for his lightsaber.
Okay.
So I was really hoping they'd show that, but we never saw it. So
okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I was hoping that one scene whenever they go down to the basement of the fortress of the Inquisitor's area, where you see the people frozen in the pods,
Yep.
that the boy, the youngling, was the same youngling,
Oh,
Master
from
Anakin. What did we
Oh, yeah.
do?
yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah.
going to be him. I was hoping that was going to be him, but it wasn't.
I gotta say, I think my theory to why they have them in that is because they were harvesting their blood. I think they were even then doing the clone stuff that they were trying to do for Palpatine.
Well, that
So-
makes
that
sense.
makes sense.
It
Yeah.
makes sense timeline wise.
Yeah, I think you see it in Bad Batch. You see the clone facility that they're setting up for
Yeah.
Palpatine,
Yeah,
so
you
that
see
they
that
can
in Bad
try to
Batch.
clone. So and some people are saying there's rumors that we're going to get Starkiller out of this. So
That is the rumor.
yeah,
That is rumor.
Really?
So speaking of rumors, you must have some rumors or fan theories that you want to throw at us that either you would want to see or that you've heard.
I think my theory or some things that I hope happen
Mhm.
is that I really think because the actor Cameron, I can't remember his last name, the guy that plays Cal Kestis,
Yes.
he has signed a contract to be in live TV.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. He has.
So we know he's going to show up somehow.
And they introduced his saber to the parks.
Yes.
His saber's now up to buy at the parks too.
Don't you
Yes.
love how that's a thing now? Like you can get spoilers for what's happening if Disney has it available to buy at the
Yeah.
parks.
The merch.
And I'm hoping that this means the next era that they're really going to kind of dive into is Cal Kestis and his story, because I think his story he is so much like Obi-Wan in so many ways as well.
Yes, he definitely is.
And the same with Kanan. They're all very similar, like the same tree basically of masters. But
Yeah.
I want to see them. I think that's the next generation of Star Wars films.
Okay,
Is
that'll be
gonna
a good
through
one.
that.
That would be cool.
Because I don't think they can really do anything after Rey. It's too polarizing, right? I think where they should go is they should follow Cal. They should kind of go out and to do their own stories where things have not been seen. Maybe go out into the unknown regions of space. Maybe get back into the I can't remember the race of aliens, but there's so many different races of aliens out there that they could just discover that were huge threats in the New Republic.
So I have to ask, the Fallen Order, that happens after Empire or not Empire, Return of the Jedi, or before Return of the Jedi?
It happens almost at the exact same timeline as Obi-Wan. So
Okay.
I think Cal happens right before Obi-Wan.
Okay.
And so that's why I was really hoping he would show up in the film and maybe like, how's he going to get through that Inquisitor base? Oh, why don't you talk to Cal?
Okay.
Like, but he doesn't know that Cal's
yeah.
out there,
Okay.
So he doesn't know Cal's still alive. So I mean, I would really love to see that they do Jedi Survivor and when they release the game and that story, and then that story takes them into the next phase of Star Wars and it's turned into like live action TV or something like that. That would be really cool.
Okay.
That would be cool.
There's also a theory there's going to be a Vader spinoff, which that would be awesome. I don't think anybody hates Darth Vader.
No,
nobody
they've done
hates Vader.
they've done so much with him in the comic books that you could have him do his own little series and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I hope they do something like that, but yeah, we'll see, man. And there's also, I will say this too. I have this on some pretty good, solid information from a friend that used to work at Disney. He's saying there will be a season 2 of Obi-Wan because when they have to put in for, I think it's like the Oscars, the Academy Awards, they have to tell them if it's just a one-off or if there's going to be more seasons. And so Moon Knight was one of them, and so was Obi-Wan. So there's going to be multiple seasons.
Okay, hey, I'm all for multiple seasons of Obi-Wan.
Yeah. And which I hope will bring in Cal and kind of go that direction,
Well, I mean, we've got the next few shows. We have Mandalorian season 3. We have Andor. Was it Andor? That's how you pronounce it.
We have Andor and Bad Batch coming up next.
And then Ahsoka series.
And then we have Mando season 3 and then Ahsoka. So
who do you see? Okay, who do you want to show up? who do you see showing up, and who do you hope shows up?
For which show?
Either one of them.
Andrew, I hope Darth Vader. I hope there's a ton of Darth Vader in that, where he just mutilates some rebels, man.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
because this is the older Vader where he just doesn't give a flip anymore. He thinks all hope is lost for him. You know,
Yeah,
you see him kind of conflicted in Obi-Wan.
you do. You do.
But I would love to see Vader in Bad Batch. I want to see more what happens with Cody. I really hope Cody actually gets his chip out of his head and
Okay.
joins the Bad Batch.
Cody or is it Echo or Deadshot? No, it's
It's Cody. Yeah. Cody was basically the commander for the 212th with
okay. No, I'm
Obi-Wan.
thinking of the sniper, the one because he still had his chip in.
Crosshairs. Yeah.
Crosshairs. Yeah,
Yeah.
he still has his chip in.
Yeah. Well, no, he doesn't. He took it out a long time ago, is what
Oh,
he
okay.
said. So, but as far as the Mandalorian season 3, I hope we get a little bit more Luke. Maybe
Okay.
in here. I really wanted to see the Mandalorians be built back up. And I kind of want to see Bo-Katan get put in her place because, like, she has a very checkered past, man. I like
does.
Bo-Katan, but she has a very checkered past. And I really hope that they make Boba Fett come into the series because he kind of owes Mando. And I hope they bring him in and he's a little more of a BA. You know, like,
Yeah.
show us why he was the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy and trusted by Darth Vader. Like, show us that. And maybe go with the old lore and have him set up and have him become Mandalore, because his adoptive
True.
father was the Mandalore, like in the Dark Horse comics. So,
Well, I mean, what if
yeah.
for Mandalorian season 3, what if Sabine shows up or they introduce Sabine?
that would be cool. I mean, because we know she's alive and
Yes.
you know she's gonna be with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Because Ahsoka is still looking for Ezra.
And
you know?
Thrawn.
Yeah.
And
Because
Thrawn.
she knows, like, hey, the Emperor is probably, she thinks the Emperor is dead. So, of course, the biggest threat to the galaxy is Thrawn.
Yeah.
You know, dude is brilliant, like, probably smarter than the Emperor. So,
He probably is.
yeah.
Probably is. And so he did the smart thing and just kind of hid in the background.
Yeah.
Let the Emperor get taken out and, like, okay, my return.
Yeah.
My
Right.
return is imminent.
Yeah.
I'm here to stay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And then Ahsoka, yeah, Ezra and Ahsoka,
Oh, I want to see Ezra so bad, man.
or
I mean,
really anyone from the Rebels squad in Ahsoka.
I mean, I would love to see Ezra eventually come in after maybe like a long time and maybe start another Jedi Order.
Yeah.
Not Luke's, but another, and they not know that there's any kind of connection there or anything like that.
Okay.
I would love to see that because, like, we already kind of know what happens with Luke's academy, right? But let's, like,
yeah.
I think the future in Star Wars when it comes to, like, Jedi is Cal, Ezra, and even though she's not a Jedi, Ahsoka. Like,
yeah, I was about to say, 'cause it's time to get away from the Skywalker lineage at this point, right?
Yeah.
What more can you really do with it, you know?
Yeah.
You know what you could add to that to really, you know, hey, you've got Phasma that you could bring in to give her finally the limelight that she didn't really get. You have Starkiller that you can introduce and have in there. The villain from Shadows of the Empire, the Zizor or whatever his name is,
Prince
the
Zizor,
guy with
yeah.
the ponytail. What?
Prince Zixor,
Zixor?
actually. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, the guy with the ponytail.
Mm-hmm.
Bring him in as a villain. You could, like, bring him in and, you know, have him set up. Yeah, get away from the Skywalker saga and kind of branch out more of the extended part. You know,
This is a
start
dumb
doing that.
question because I can't remember, but didn't Finn survive this last trilogy?
Yes, Finn survived.
So why can't we do something with Finn? You know what I mean?
He's done with Star Wars. He won't ever return.
Really?
He said he'd never return.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess he's got all the money he needs in the world. That's good.
Yep.
So he's he's done. he did not have.
He's got
fun.
some valid reasons.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, does he? Okay. I'm not.
He wasn't treated well, and then the whole thing with Disney not backing him up when they did their posters in China, and he was supposed to be kind of a Jedi and never really got to, and they kind of just made him kind of a whiny dude, you know.
He got Ernie Hudson. He got Ernie Hudson.
I didn't know
Yeah.
all this. Oh my god.
So
Okay. Well, I guess I can play them there.
it'd be cool to see him come back, but it's not going to happen.
No.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, kind of sucks. Same thing with what's her name? Was it Rose Tico, the girl who played Rose?
Yeah.
She's like, she's done. She's
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
Oh.
Rose, I know people liked her, but she was just kind of pointless to me. That whole like casino thing was just pointless.
Well, I think she was supposed to be the backup love interest that
Yeah.
people kind of didn't like.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think she was a great person. Just that her character wasn't really.
I mean, there's
done
nothing wrong
anything.
with her as an actor.
Yeah.
It's just like I did not enjoy the story.
Bad writing. Just bad writing.
It wasn't even bad writing. It was just not a great, enticing story. You know,
Yeah.
it's just
Okay.
there's got to be some kind of stakes there, right? And it
There-
just
there
didn't
has to
feel
be.
like there was anything at stake there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, yeah, and again, that kind of comes back to just again bad writing. You need to have a better setup to bridge the end and the beginning,
Mhm.
and that didn't happen. But she won't be back. Sadly, she will not be back. But I'm still going to petition. I'm going to start a petition for Shaz of the Empire, the animated movie, or something that needs to happen. That needs to get made. Dash Rendar needs to be brought to the light, or he needs more action figures. One of the two. He needs more, something like that.
Black Series re-releases.
That too. I want a Funko Pop with them giant shoulder pads and his little hand blaster to happen. The Outrider needs to happen as a Funko Pop ride.
Right.
Needs to happen.
That
So
would be dope.
yes. So Wade, thank you for joining us.
For
It
sure.
was a
Thank
lot
you
of
so
fun
much.
talking Star Wars and everything like that. Use this time, plug your stuff out there, your podcast, where they can
Yeah.
find you, your Discord, plug it all.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we got our own gaming Discord and the Star Wars Discord for the Bendu podcast. We do the Halo Infinite podcast. So if you like Halo, we talk about that as well. And you can catch me. You can check out our YouTube channel. We have tons of Star Wars content on there, or our streams over on Twitch. It's just the same name everywhere. Mulehorn Gaming.
That's
There
awesome.
you go. And
Yeah.
like you said, if you want to talk about Halo, that's great. I will never talk about the show. Yeah. That-
Master Cheeks.
Master Cheeks. Wow.
Master No Helmet.
It's Master Cheeks. He's in the alternate universe. It's all about butt cheeks, man.
Master Porn Stash. Because wasn't he from Orange is the New Black?
I don't know.
Hey, wait, orange is the new green.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, I cannot get into that show. How hard I try to, I just cannot
Yeah.
get into it.
Yeah.
It was difficult, very difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you again for coming on. And one final question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you've been to Disney, correct, Wade?
Yes.
So, out of all the Coca-Cola Star Wars drinks, the Sprite, the Diet Coke, the regular Coke, Coke Zero, which bomb or detonator is your favorite?
Coke.
All right, there you go, thermal.
Can't beat the real thing.
Can't beat the real thing.
Yeah.
So thank you again to come out.
For
Go
sure,
watch,
man.
go watch Obi-Wan on Disney Plus. You'll enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. It's what happens if you put a spaghetti western in Blade Runner. It is just a lot of fun. So go check
Yeah.
that out. And if you made this
Yes.
far, I'm gonna give yourself a pat on the back for making it this far. And tune in next time whenever we do have another episode. Don't know when that will happen, but it will happen eventually. It will happen. So, thanks, guys, and bye. Chris, you got anything to say? Exactly.
All the ponchos.
Yeah, go fuck.
Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, check out CrossTheStreamsMedia.com to hear more episodes of this podcast and the other shows on the Cross the Streams network. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you download your favorite shows. Visit CrossTheStreamsMedia.com for more information. See you next time.
Cross
This has been a Cross the Streams Media Podcast.